Coaching has gone to center coaching. Here,
Well, the history would be documented because there'd be plane tickets, there'd be family members knowing that she was gone for a period of time, things like that, that you can corroborate, right?
if at the moment, I thought that was an easier thing to corroborate, yeah. I think that it was testimony.
What about Alaska? Remember her talking to you about Alaska later in the interview? How
Oh, yeah, I had trouble with Alaska because
you know what?
husband went there, and I think she had gone there.
I meant to say Australia. I'm sorry. I think
You had the same thing I did.
we're having the same problem. She never said she went to Alaska. She said Australia, right?
She did say Alaska.
Oh, she did?
Sir, she said,
Okay.
not only that, you know, your head is spinning when you some of the stuff. But later on, I'm pretty sure that she had a husband who was stationed in Alaska. So I was in real suffering. And that she Alaska, and I looked at I think in my notes I have down that he didn't. I think there's really Alaska.
Alaska happened. They lived in Alaska. Okay. That was my fault. I meant to talk about the Australian trip where she says her and Harley went over there and she blacked out and was on a beach and doing crazy things, she said, and then realized Harley was by herself. Do you remember that?
It's something like that. And I'm relieved that you were as confused.
And we know there's nothing in the record to indicate that she's ever been to Australia. She also tells you in this clip that she changes personas when she's stressed out. Remember that?
Yeah.
Is that consistent with dissociative identity disorder?
Yes.
A triggering event?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to play the next clip now, okay? We're going to go to, just have a second. We're now going to jump to People's Exhibit 731, which is your interview. What's the date of this? Would be on November 16th, 2022 in the morning. We're going to start this clip at 1 hour, 31 minutes and 50 seconds. And we're going to stop it at 1 hour, 47 and 22 seconds. No, that's for the record, doctor, just so the record indicates what we're playing. Okay. Go ahead and play.
They're being projected as some monster and like you don't know, and you're like looking around and like this is not me. I do these things and I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
This made this slow out. Is it possible that you did stayed? Yeah.
If I did, I didn't know I did or did not intentionally do it. You know what I'm saying? There was no intention to harm anyone. That would be a loved one of mine. You see what I'm saying?
Because, you know,
Yep.
again, I did not see him. What? See him? Yes, you see it.
Yeah.
As said, I did not do that. I did this, not to put that, whatever. But this is one thing that she keeps saying. She didn't do, or else it gives, you know, you do get some pretty wacky stories about you think that. There is a possibility, it's not clear that point. Do you think that's a possibility?
Oh, I said that from the beginning, that I was all over the place because I really, same job.
Is it possible you did that when you were on stage?
When I was in a what state?
Stay in one of these states where you were involved.
Oh, yeah, I've said that, definitely, I know that, but I was not an intention to hurt Anna. Like, it was never, like, no, absolutely not, I love Anna, I took care of these kids since they were 5 and 2. I've had these kids from coast to coast, country to country.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, what do, what do I gain out of hurting a child? Absolutely nothing. Like, I lose everything in my entire life. And not only is it about me being hurt, but other people around me. And if I'm sitting there telling you that I care about all these people, there are other people hurting in this. If I was going to hurt somebody, why would it not be these people that are hurting people? Right? No, it would not be to hurt a child. You see what I'm saying? Like, absolutely not. Would not be an intention to be like, okay, that's it, you're done for the day. No, like, that's not how it works. I don't spend my whole life doing things right, you know, to do that. I don't work my whole life to do things right, to just be like, today's the day, I'm just gonna ruin my entire life and everybody else's. That's not how it works. These people in here do this stuff, I don't. You know? Really possible. It doesn't matter what that's.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't take somebody out to go shopping, do this, do that. You don't go buy somebody Valentine's candy to knock them off the planet.
Is that day you were pointing out?
Yes. So I don't understand this. That's just not how it works. You don't pay somebody out clothes for this amount of time. You don't go do this, you don't go do this. Like, I don't get it. I've had this kid in Mexico, Alaska, all these places, not a scratch on their body.
Tell me what's more. I'm in Australia.
Yes,
When?
I think I told you 2017 or maybe 18.
How did you find it?
I went with people. Get my records to see where I went. But I went with there's, I think it was Sam. Oh, Christina, Sam. Other people.
And took care of Dennis.
I don't think they live with us then.
Sitting from time to time. They want to get away from this mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially like they're gone for the summer. I just be on. If he gets removed,
Because why?
I work, I bored. Which one?
Yeah, like that was my life. I would rather packing up all the stuff, just taking everybody back home to South Carolina, and taking care of everybody. My life was much easier like that. Because I can help there. No, no, they're,
It's what?
no, Landon's mom,
Land,
which was Gannon's mom's.
yeah. Again, this is again,
Grandma.
we're help with.
She helped me when we lived there and I had the kids. She helped me. She's the only person to help me. But I also had other people there that could help. Support system,
Yes.
everything. If I could call, I need, I could help. I had other people who programs that I could be like, great, I need to go do this. I could drop them off here for the day. I had support.
My first talk with John. I asked him what. And, you know, he's, well, by the way, what you would say, someone else, was there. Outside. And he said that he left a list, gave him a list of 12 explanations that he gave for what happened when
Because then I'll have a flashback or something, but I don't know if that flashback is a real flashback or not.
yeah.
And I'll have a nightmare about something, so I don't know if the nightmare was a nightmare, but the nightmare becomes real. So then I wake up and think that's really going on for hours and hours and hours and hours. Then sometimes I'll have something and I'll try to put together something and it's like, it's really happening. Because I told you earlier that I didn't know if something's really going on, or if this was real or not. Remember I said, I thought this was just one big nightmare. But so, any of it, like, it's all running together, because sometimes I don't know what's going on, and what's really not going on, you know what I mean? Then one minute it's something that happened, and I'll switch personality, and someone will say, in the other personality, no, this is what really happened. You know what I mean? Then I'll hear like another voice, still not schizophrenic voice, easy, and it'd be like my other voice, tell me this. So it's like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that I drive myself absolutely nuts. So when you ask me why people tell you 100% that I remember, sitting on the couch, somebody knock, being in the garage, I'm gonna remember I being in the garage, I'm gonna go look at the windows, look at someone outside, seeing someone downstairs. But that was the things I could 100% remember, but running around frantic, not knowing what was going on. So that's what I guess was greatest dream or fantasy or weirdo that you have that influences what you think have. But the real underlying thing was just the neutral. But I don't know. How do I know? It could be. How do I know? There's people or something, I don't know. But I'm saying though, but you don't know because, well, one person's telling me this, how do I know? Because this person could be trying to go with that person. You see what I'm saying? Because who knows what that person was really doing? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Told you. I know, I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about what this person was doing. How do you know? Because one minute I was doing this, next minute I was doing this, but another person was doing this because I was doing two things. So how do we know? Whether we're in some interior state, and it is not possible to remember what happened. It's not gonna work for me because I'm not like that. I have to know answers. Dude, I wouldn't care if it was just a random person on the street who was a bad person. Yeah, I wouldn't care. Because they would just be a bad person. Yeah. I don't care. But you're like that. See the news every day, bad people, bad things happen to bad people. But when bad things happen to good people, it's hard, especially when I'm sitting there lost. You know, you're sitting there lost. Because you don't think really knows. There are probably little things that you should remember what happened to get rid of. And where he's tossed and this or that, it might have to do something. But in a sense, she's a good memory for.
Yeah.
And there's probably, there's probably a good reason for why you don't. And, you got that stuff, it's a lot of preference. But let's try to find out why I absolutely believe that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the crime. Because I wish I would have just lived when he asked me just a kid. I don't know, face, I don't know about the face kid charges. But it was to begin. Dad wanted me to leave and not even tell how early. God, should have just did it. Isn't that a brilliant idea? I know, but at least we've been saved, at least we've been on the East Coast saved, everybody saved.
He wanted to go with me. He knew I was leaving. He wanted to go with me. He did. He said, whenever mommy and mom, I could stay with you and stay with mommy and mom.
It was fine and
His mommy, his nana, his poppy, he whatever. The East Coast, yeah, to the East Coast.
is that when you're home?
No, his mommy.
Where?
No,
His family.
yeah, his family lived there.
From here to.
Yeah, his mom. They were away.
Yeah, he knew I was leaving to go back home to the East Coast. And he was like, just take me with you. And I said, son, I cannot. It's kidnapping. Your dad would have me hand over kidnapping because even though I'm your primary caregiver, I can't just take you. And if I would have just did that, everybody would just be fine.
So, said,
Right?
so what? How did you?
No, you gotta add that to the mix, add that added on to me, trying to figure out, I was trying to leave. But yeah, I have to make sure that they were safe, because if I didn't wanna leave them safe. You don't realize that the kids, Lena and Cannon, if I would have left them, they would not have been taken care of. Yes, money's not everything. They would have had what they needed financially. They would not have anybody to take care of their academics. They would not have had anybody to take care of their school stuff like, oh, it's just a day at school. Oh, it's this. They wouldn't have had that. Without me, they had none of that. So they would have lost all those things. They would have just been thrown in babysitters. Who would have babysitted them?
Did you ever cross your mind that maybe Gavin was there?
No, absolutely not. This was my plan. I could not just take them to South Carolina and drop them off at my mother. She said, go ahead. And if I did that, they were in just as worse hands as the guard I've taken care of them. Right? So the plan had to be add more to my plate to figure out how am I going to get them safely to their mom so she could get custody back. But at the same time, she needs a house. And in order to get custody back, the woman can get custody back if I help her, because I'm the one that reason we got custody was because of me. So I can help get custody back to her. How am I gonna do this? Do it correctly, make sure she has a home.
It's killing again.
Kim doesn't need to die. What are you talking about? Kim dying has nothing to do with that.
The idea or
But I didn't come up with any idea of him die. My point is getting him safely to his mother. That would have been the plan. I could not get him that day. I told him Wednesday I would have worked out then with her, but talking to her, getting her a home, I can't just go buy her a home. That's not simple. You see what I'm saying? She's a drug addict. Drug addicts don't listen. They repeat the same cycle over and over and over. So I didn't lose about it. Should have just took them with me, started the school cross country, and then just been like, oh, well, one of y'all need to figure it out how to become a better parent. That's what I should have done. Love that day. That's what I should have done.
Okay, we started at 1:47:17. Thanks, Mr. Toomey.
Absolutely.
That's right. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about this clip we just saw. And I want to kind of start where we left off, where she's talking about kidnapping and Gannon wanting to go to South Carolina. You remember that?
I found the entire thing incredibly confusing. She had to take care of Gannon and she had to forget. At that point, I was kind of, what in hell is going on here?
Okay, and Dr. Lewis, Mr. Toomey is going to ask you some questions when I'm done. If we can just focus on my question, and then If there's other things you want to add, I'm sure Mr. Cellini can ask you about that, okay? Is that
I
fair?
thought I was responding to what.
No, I want to talk about, well, is it that unusual that an 11-year-old boy wants to be with his mother? And you think that might have an impact on his stepmother, Miss Stout? The fact that Gannon wanted to be with his real mom?
I don't think that this demonstrated that. Say that, there was something incredibly puzzling about who wanted to be with whom she loved, whom she was taking care of. I found it utterly confusing.
Do you think that might be a stressor that Miss Stout talks about? The fact that an 11-year-old boy says, I want my mother, not you.
I don't think that this is what heard there.
Okay. Well,
I don't think we heard that it's a possibility in another story, in another world.
well, let me just ask you, do you think that's a stressor? The fact that an 11-year-old boy tells his stepmother that I want to be with my mother, not you.
It may or may not, depending on a relationship, depending on mother, depending on so many factors. It's just speculation.
And do you remember in the clip her saying that I couldn't leave them by themselves. I was the only one taking care of them, or words to that effect.
Absolutely.
And you know that she had been searching on her phone about moving to Florida by herself, looking for one bed apartments and looking for another man, that kind of stuff. That was well before Gannon was killed, right?
I don't.
Several times during the interview, you look to your right and appear to be talking to Mr. Cellini about this is evidence that she may not remember anything, things like that.
I was trying to figure out from what do you make of this? Is it possible she doesn't remember this? Trying to see if he understood better what was going on there.
Well, and Miss Stout could hear everything you're saying, right?
I beg your pardon.
Miss Stout could hear everything you're saying, just like we could.
Absolutely. It was,
And she had already been evaluated by the state hospital and found to be legally sane, right?
they had said that she was.
And she already went through this process where she talked to two psychologists explaining what happened and things like that. And now she's talking to you after that. And you think it's okay to say she may not have memory recall of what happened in front of her.
Yes, it was kind of an open question to Mr. Toomey, and also really it was open to her also. You remember what was going on. In my mind, it was incredibly wasn't clear that she was making complete sense.
And a couple times in this clip, you asked her what we refer to as a leading question. In other words, you said, do you think it's possible that you were in a peculiar state at the time of this? Remember asking those questions?
Yes.
I think it's dangerous to plant those types of words into a defendant's mind when you're doing a forensic interview.
Well, I think that if this has not come up previously and it has not been part of the common knowledge that she did go into these kind of, it was sort of broken. What do you think was happening when you were thinking these things? It did not make sense. And what was making things so confusing?
Okay.
And was evidence, questions, other data that she did seem to. Prior to this was the rush. Knew already, it wasn't adding, oh gee, you go into these states. We already knew from that this happened. thing is it possible? It's really possible this really did.
Well, but she's never heard it from a doctor who's doing an evaluation for her insanity, that the doctor thinks that she was in a peculiar state. That has an impact on someone, doesn't it?
I believe that I was reflecting what we already knew from previous
Okay.
discussions, and that I was not introducing a new idea, but that this was an established occurrence, and that, you know, possible that this, or you are in a fun. I didn't know.
Okay. Your Honor, the next clip is about 7 minutes long. We can play that or whatever the court wants to do as far as lunch goes.
I assume you're gonna have some follow-up.
Probably.
That clip, it's probably better to play the clip nearer in time to when the follow-up is as opposed to,
I would appreciate that.
okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will take our lunch break. I have everyone back in the jury room at 1:20. We should be able to start on time at that point.